it has its subtlety. Yeah, it's there. It's definitely there, but it's not as blatant as, like, say, the US. But it's there. Yeah, it's very subtle, but yeah, it's there.
From the term racism, I understand that obviously it's someone that's obviously racist.
Or just someone being, I can't use the word racist, can I? Or someone being racist towards someone of another colour or religion, just whatever.
And obviously a person that doesn't like someone because of the skin colour. Or should I say, not even skin colour, sometimes discriminate. But sometimes, to me, I think racism, sometimes people are naive. I think sometimes some people are not even necessarily racist. I just think they're just joining the bandwagon because their parents have told them, like, they're not like this colour of the skin because this person's this colour. So I think sometimes some people are not even racist. I just think they've been influenced by it, and haven't been able to break out of it because of their family or because of their cultural background or because of their peers. Yeah.
I understand the term as being someone that is judgmental in a negative way towards somebody else because of the colour of their skin.
Isn't that unfairly discriminating someone based on their ethnicity, where they're from, kind of thing?
So racism is basically where you're like discriminating against someone from like another race. That's what I understand from it.
I think, in some sense, yes. I think yes, the system is racist. You know, because I feel like, for example, this weekend. In fact, I think yeah, they are because you know what? It's taught me because this bank holiday weekend, I think it has been racist because you know what? The police knew, and they were aware that this bank holiday weekend was literally a black weekend. Because obviously this weekend is kind of a weekend. They knew from Friday till Monday that black people were gonna have street parties, that people were gonna do whatever they want, basically. You know, have shebangs, you know, Jaliban, you know. And so the police have come out in numbers like never before. Like, there was, like, literally, you would be in the roads in Chapeltown, police patrolling, like, there'll be C6 for cars, even all over, not even just in the Leeds, in London, everywhere, you know. And I feel like, even since this easing lockdown of the COVID, there's been a lot of these black raves. Cause I'll be honest, a lot of people who've been doing these raves are always black people.
I think that you can't put everybody into a bracket, into the same, bracket of being racist. Do I feel like there is racism in the UK? Yes, but I don't think everyone's a racist in the UK.
You know, and I feel like, obviously, you know, a lot of white people tend to go to the pubs or bars. Maybe have a few gamblers in the houses, but that's about it. Obviously, us black people, we like to do things big, and I think that's just something in our culture or in our nature. We don't do small things. We don't just go for a pint or just go to a bar. We like to do things big. So I feel like all these raves and all these, house parties that us black people, the police have been literally on our toes. Because no offense, yeah, when Leeds went to came back to the Premier League, there was no police that stopped that. They had a massive party in Millennium Square. There was 2 guys running around naked. Like, I seen it on Snapchat. They had 2 parties going on in Ellen Road that day, literally next door to the police station. The police didn't do nothing about it till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And all these black motives going on, they've been literally ransacking them. Every 2 minutes, ransacking them. You know what I mean?
I think the UK is racist. I don't even know how to answer this. I think the UK is racist in a way. It is racist in a way. Well, it is racist.
It has its subtlety, yeah. It's there, it's definitely there, but it's not as blatant as, like, say, the US. But it's there, yeah. It's very subtle, but yeah, it's there.
I feel like it is racist and it isn't. But I don't know how to explain. I don't know.
And also, I feel like the police as well, like, sometimes I think they're stereotypical. Because once I was, me and my friend, we were both support working, and we were, we were taking this lady who's got learning difficulties to the shops. Obviously, part of her learning difficulty is she screams like, she'll be like, ah, ah. That's a condition. So literally, a lady was walking by the side. She was saying, "Is everything alright, guys?" We were like, yeah, we're just walking the stage. Don't worry, she's got learning difficulties. She's just screaming because she was, holding on to that kind of, wheelchair mobility thing. She was holding on to the lady. And then obviously the lady called the police on us. So this is outside One Stop in York. There was 2 police vans came, and then they started asking us questions like, "Who are you? What's your name? Where are you guys from? Laddie? What are you doing with this lady?" We're like support workers looking after her. Then obviously they escorted us to the house, asked us questions, and in my head I was thinking, right, there's 2 of us with a lady, 2 police vans with about 6 police officers came out. I think, is this really necessary?
The UK is most definitely racist. Like, it's just done in different forms. Like, sometimes it's direct, sometimes it's passive, but there is racism in the UK.
I feel like there is racism. I feel like there is racism here in the UK, but it's kind of like in a way where it's not as physical, so it's not as seen. I feel like obviously America has guns, so obviously there's a lot of shootings by the police officers. So ours is more like verbal kind of, and not as physical. So it's kind of like you don't notice it. And for me, to be honest, I have had racism in the past, but not some in a long time. So for me, I feel like it depends. I think there's institutional racism, and it can happen in the work environment as well. But yeah, I believe there is the racism in the UK definitely.
Why? People are just ignorant and stuck in their ways and afraid of something they don't understand.
No, I haven't actually. I am proud to say no.
I've never been accused of being racist, and I don't think I've ever been racist.
Yes, but it was in retaliation, in response to someone being racist to me. That's what it was.
For me, I've got love for everyone. Literally, I have got love for everyone. Like literally, I love everyone. You know what I mean? Like, I've got no conscience of racism whatsoever in me at all. You know what I mean? Because for me, I believe we're all one blood, and I'll treat everybody the same. And like another lady who I call as my second mother, she's a white lady. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not racist whatsoever.
I feel like I might have been racist in a way-ish in the past, possibly. But not like racist. Like, I don't know what. Like you're brought up kind of sometimes thinking that like Indians or Asians have a certain smell. And then I don't know.
How did you find out that's not true?
Because one time I said it in front of my mum's friend who was Indian, but I didn't know he was Indian. And my mum was just laughing saying I can't say that because it's racist.
So you're saying you were put in a situation where you had to question if it was true or not, and you found out that it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I'm racist. I don't know.
Huh?
I said, but I don't think I'm racist.
Or do you hate people just because of their color?
Oh, no.
Then no.
I don't.
Have I ever been accused of being racist? Yeah, a couple of times. So, like, sometimes, sometimes you make jokes in it, and I haven't made any, like, let's say, racist jokes in that sense, but I've kind of made some jokes where someone's probably took it as racist. So, like, I said to this girl when I was at work, what do you call it? I said to her, what did I say to her? I said to her, basically, so there's this girl who has challenging me with this child, and there was this Asian lady. The child is Asian as well, and obviously, the girl told me that this child who has challenging behaviour is always picking on me, always attacking me. So I said to her, as a joke, oh, don't worry, just tell her, you tell her that you're a long lost sister, and it'll be all right. And the look that she gave me said, "Excuse me, she said to me, hey, excuse me, that's racist, you know." And I was like, whoa, Dad, I'm not being racist. I'm having a joke. I said to her, I said to her, because obviously she was Asian. I just said, "You're a long lost sister." You know what I mean? But that was just meant to be like a playful thing. You know what I mean? But she took it in a racist context. You know what I mean? So sometimes, like it's like you saying for example, saying, "Oh, this is your long lost brother," and me saying, "Oh, you've been racist there." That's just you having a playful joke in it. So in some contents, some people can take things racially when it's meant to be playful. When it's not even a racial, when it's not even enough to do with race, it's just a playful thing. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because it's like these what do you call it? The two other housemates that are in the house. Sorry, the other three housemates in the house. They're white. I could say, oh yeah, they're your brothers. They're your three brothers. Is that me being racist? No, it's just me saying that because they're white. Instantly, they could be your brothers because they're white. You know what I mean? So that's not racist.
I wouldn't say all are racist. I think a lot are very ignorant. There's a difference between racism and ignorance. I just think some people need educating. Again, understanding something or trying to understand something that they can never fully understand. You can't walk in my shoes. You aren't my race. So yeah, I think whilst there is a lot of racism, I think a lot of it's down to ignorance as well, or what they've heard, or what they've been told by someone else. The way they were brought up,
Nah, not all white people are racist. Definitely not. It's just there's a few bad apples, but like not everybody's racist.
Nah, that's nonsense. That is complete nonsense. You know what the funny thing is? I think as well. I'm gonna be honest, yeah, because I think this is something to be honest with. My mum, like she's not a racist person at all, but she has this kind of thing in her head that she does feel like all white people are racist. But the funny thing is, she has got some white friends that she does talk to, but in her head she has this thing. The only time she doesn't think white people are racist is when someone has like a child to a black person. So in her head, she's always telling me, "Oh, you should be careful with white people that you work with. They could say something about you, or they could trap you or stage you at work because all white people are racist. But I feel like a lot of the older culture who've come into the country when there was a lot of racism have this mentality that like most white people are racist. I don't know if you experienced that, but a lot of the I feel like the older mentality people have that mentality that a lot of white people are racist. But for me, nah, I don't think so at all.
I feel like all white people are racist, but they don't mean to be racist. I feel like they've just been brought up a certain way. And they say racist things at times. Like sometimes they'll say, "Oh, you're pretty for a black girl." Oh.
I don't believe all white people are racist. I've got so many friends who are white who are definitely not racist. No.
They just do racist things at times, but I don't think they mean to do racist things every single time.
Like, for me, like when I see a white person, I don't mean racism doesn't come into my head, So for me to think, well, I don't think that at all. You know what I mean? And for me anyway, I date a lot of white girls, so that means that I'm saying, oh yeah, I'm looking to a white girl thinking, oh yeah, she's racist. Well, nah, because I'm into bare white girls. You know what I mean? So it's basically me saying that. So that's basically me cop blocking myself then. Saying, oh, I think you're racist now. Me and you can't go date. You know what I mean? Nah, man. I love my white people. Especially my white girls.
Yes, most definitely. Like, if I was to marry someone, let's say white, my family would all be okay with it. I feel like the real question lies if I was to marry outside my race, if his family would be okay with it.
Yeah, no, everyone in my family would be okay with that. So yeah, they're quite relaxed.
Yeah, they would be. My family's very multicultural. I'm mixed of many things. So yes, they'd be very, very okay.
So you married someone of a different race. Would everyone in your family be okay with it? Nope. No. Nope.
I think most of them would. I think some people would be like, I haven't got no one in my family who's racist, but I think some people in my family would have this kind of cultural thing where they'll be like, are you sure this girl will be able to meet our cultural standards, and all that stuff. That's where it probably will be, because I haven't got no one in the family who's racist. I just think it's where the cultural difference, like for example, let's say, how do I explain it? For example, what do you call it? Like in Christmas, like when I go to, we like to go back home to Nigeria and all that, and gather together. Would your wife be happy to come to Nigeria if she's maybe white or Asian or whatever colour she is? Would she be happy to come to Nigeria with us? That's where the problem would be. It won't be really to do with the race. It would just be to do with, would she be able to meet up to your culture background?
They'd be like, oh, okay. I don't know where he got her from, but can you please ask him to put her back? Kind of thing. Yeah.
Why?
Why?
Because I'm I'm a multicultural guy. Like I eat Indian food, I eat Chinese, I eat everything. Like literally, I'm an omnivore. I eat anything. But and I participate in every culture's things, activities. But obviously when it comes to my culture, is would the woman be able to handle my culture? Because the thing is as well though, a lot of women, they'll happily date a black guy, or happily date an Asian guy, or happily date a Chinese guy, or happily go out of them. But when it comes to the culture, they're like, nah, that's too much for me. So that's where you need to meet halfway. So yeah, that's the only thing. But my family will be calm with me dating someone from a different colour.
I don't know. They perhaps see or experience things that I haven't. I mean, my preference is black women. maybe they're just a bit old school for that, you know?
Let me think. Have I ever been treated differently? Nah, not to my. I mean, obviously, you know, I think yes, you do see it like maybe in some like when someone's getting arrested, you see the black person get arrested, white person doesn't get arrested. But for me personally, I've never experienced it. I haven't experienced where I've been with a white person and I've had it differently. You know what I mean? I think sometimes it depends on how you carry yourself as well. You know what I mean? Because I feel like some black guys they bring up themselves. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So like for me, like I've only been stopped twice by the police. You know, and obviously there's been black guys who've been stopped countless of times. You know what I mean? So I think it depends on how you carry yourself as well. But for me, I haven't really had any. I don't feel I've been treated differently. You know what I mean?
Most definitely. Like an example would be like during high school. Do you know when you get playing sets and stuff like that? I'd always be in like a lower set, but then I feel like I was capable of being higher sets, and everybody else that I was in like that set with, they seem to have not they seem to not get things as quickly or understand things that I did understand, and yeah, things like that. I just knew I was meant to be in a higher set, but you know it is what it is. So yeah, like I got put in foundation maths, but in my actual GCSEs I got an A. So like things like that, like I kept requesting them to remove me out of that foundation. They wouldn't until I sat like the exam in like year 10, and then due to that I could get into like a higher class. But things like that, it's quite evident that I shouldn't have been in a lower set. But just because I was black, I felt like it was because I was black I was put into a lower set.
Have I been treated differently? Yeah, I think definitely I've been treated differently, and you can see it happen whether you're out with friends or just whoever. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been treated like that. Like I lived in Nottingham before, and Nottingham's like quite more mixed, diverse and stuff. But then when I moved up to Leeds, it's like the first time I experienced racism. But
Really?
yeah, like I never experienced any racism in Nottingham at all.
Yes. Yeah. People just they assume the worst of you, or they assume that you don't know as much as your white counterpart for a start. Oh, let me ask this guy because get better. He probably knows. You might probably know more than him, or might be overqualified, more qualified than that person. Yeah, I've been treated differently. I've been punished differently for things. Especially when I was at school, same thing, same thing we did wrong. Yet I got more severe punishment.
Serious?
Yeah, they do it. Like I swear, they put you in lower sets and put you in things like foundation, so you can't achieve higher because you're limited that way. Like they don't want you to progress. I swear, like I swear, I actually dead ass feel that way. Like I literally feel like they purposely are like trying to limit you. Mm-hmm. When you and I like they and I, yeah, exactly. Like they don't want you to like yeah, basically.
Did your parents go to school?
They didn't go to the school. They did not go to the school. The only reason why I moved out foundation was because I got like 190 something out of 200 on the paper, and I was like, can you please let me move up now? And then they let me move up, and I got an A, but I wouldn't have been able to get that A if I was in foundation.
You notice it like just in general as well when people talk to people who are white where I used to work and stuff, and they assume that I'm a bit of an idiot. But when I talk to them, I can articulate with them and actually know what they're on about and say, oh yeah, I've learned this before, I've studied this before, did this at uni, etc. Like, oh, okay. It's like, what? Just because I look a certain way, my hair's a different way, what? You didn't expect that? Well, they probably didn't, again, because of ignorance.
Well, I think how we should stop that from growing. I think basically what we can do right is we should educate white people, and I think we should just educate people in general because I feel like, I feel like in schools we do Black History Month, but I feel like that's not enough. We should talk about Black history. You know what I mean? We should talk about Black because in schools, right? The school system is kind of in a sense racist because it talks about Hitler, it talks about Henry VIII, it talks about Queen Elizabeth, it talks about Franz Ferdinand, it talks about the World War, it talks about all that, it talks about the back, but it doesn't talk about, you don't hear nothing to do with Black history. You do not hear nothing to do with Black history. So I think we should talk about education as well, about Black history, and make it more, instead of a thing that's just one, like Black History Month, it should become a thing that's throughout the whole curriculum, Black history in general. You know what I mean?
I feel like, right, racism kind of continues to grow because, like, I feel like Black people are, like, put into their heads from young that white people are, like, the devil and, like, white people are evil and all that stuff. So then, like, if you're brought up like that, you're just going to, like, grow up to hate white people as well. And it's always going to be, like, a race war. So I feel like kind of, like, stopping that, I don't know, kind of stop, like, telling your children that white people are evil and that white people are horrible. Because not all white people are. And then you're just going to have this hatred inside you towards white people when there's no need, really. But obviously, to certain people, you do need to have that hate inside you-ish.
I think pulling people up on racism is one thing, and letting it be known that it's not allowed and it's not okay. And also educating young children. Children are not born racist, it's a learned behaviour. So if we let them know from a young behaviour and let them learn that to love everybody, I think that's how we can stop racism.
Like, I don't know if you guys have heard about Mansa Musa. That guy was the wealthiest person the world's ever had. He was worth 400 billion. He was from Mali. He had gold. He was a king, etc. etc. He had everything. He had camels, you name it. He had the whole city, the whole country was his. And then he would have businesses from all over the world. But a lot of people don't know about Mansa Musa because in schools they don't talk about him. Unless I didn't even know about him until I saw him on Facebook and someone talked about him being the wealthiest person. I didn't have a clue about him because schools don't talk about people like that. They don't talk about Mansa Musa. They don't talk about what do you call it? About Black people who've paved the way. You know what I mean?
Education. Yeah. How about if you do a bit of swapping, putting a child of a certain age to live with a certain family with a different demographic for, like, I don't know, a month or so. You know what I mean? Something like that. Just see how it goes, like social experiment, like stuff like that. A lot of it's education and realising just because one person committed a crime doesn't mean you should taint everyone that same brush. You know what I mean? That's what it is. Education, man.
Because I feel like sometimes racism is a bit of a taboo thing in school. I mean, they talk about it, but they talk about it in a way like it's kind of like family friendly. Like, guys, you should all treat each other with respect, and you should be racist to each other, and that's it. They don't talk about it in depth. You know what I mean? They keep it like a taboo thing. You know what I mean? So they need to really bring it into schools where, like, show videos of black children getting beaten by police cops, stuff like that. Show it to kids. Show it to the white children or to everyone that this is what goes on. Because you know what, a lot of kids don't really realize that this is what's going on. You know what I mean? In schools we are taught not to be racist, but it's family friendly. You just don't be racist, guys. Come on, that's it. They don't talk about it in wide depth. So that's something that they should do. They should bring it into schools and really highlight racism to its peak of what actually happens. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's actually that question. I don't really know how you can stop racism from growing, because I don't know. The only thing, like the first thing that came to mind was education, educating children, because it all starts with children. Like, if you tell a child that, like, basically it depends how people raise their children. But if you start from young telling children that there's no difference between races, like we're all part of humanity, then I guess that's the start. But other than that, I don't know. Like,
At times, I feel like they could do, because again, like some white people don't realize that they're actually being racist. Like, I don't know, like certain things are just a norm to them, kind of from growing up. But then at the same time, it is wrong, racism. So I don't know.
Yeah, perhaps they do. And I think that's because the way they've said something or done something is that they haven't known a better way of putting it. Especially nowadays, everyone's a bit sensitive about stuff. You can't say one thing without it being taken out of context if you're not careful. I mean, one word can change the whole sentence. So I think some people can be paid unfairly, but then you've got to look deeper. Did they actually mean that, or was there something else behind what they said, or what? But yeah, I think some work colleagues perhaps could be, and maybe they're no fault of their own.
I mean, they must have said something that has made someone feel uncomfortable. And not everyone realises that they're saying something that could be racially offensive. So I think that at that point, educate them, let them know, pull them up on it in a nice way, see what their reaction is. They may not have meant it. So you can't brand them a racist until you speak to them.
I feel sometimes, you know what, right? Where, well, obviously, we've all probably worked in work environments, you know what I mean? And I feel like sometimes, you know, there's a respect that we should all treat each other, you know what I mean? Regardless whether black or white. And I feel like sometimes you might get like in a work environment where you would see maybe a senior staff or like management favoritizing on like maybe the white staff more than the black staff.
okay, being branded unfairly as racist, like I can understand why people might see a certain individual and be like, he looks a bit racist. Like, for example, during the Black Lives Matter protest in Leeds, there was a counter protest, and I don't know how else to describe this, but there was like a generic look of the people who were like taking part in the counter protest. Like, there were most of them, the majority of them were like white men, and they had like certain features about them, and it stays in your mind that like, oh, these are the type of people that to be racist. And when I was growing up as well, my racism would always come from white males. Like, I had always experienced racism with them. So sometimes when I come across certain individuals that remind me of my past, I do tend to brand them as potentially racist, like just based off experience.
Obviously, maybe you guys might not realise it, but if you look in most agency jobs, it's mainly black people. But obviously, what I've noticed when a lot of black people, like I've done support work, and I know that sometimes in the support work environment, that they will give the black person more jobs to doing that in the what do you call it, in the routine of the work, more than a white person. Or they'll be, you know, delegating the black person more and more to do this, do that. While the white person, they'll just give them maybe one or two jobs. So I think in that sense, yeah, there is favoritism, but I think it depends though. Like, I feel like, you know, yeah, you do get some staff that do get branded racist, you know what I mean? Because sometimes they don't have no respect towards that person, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's not racism. I just think that, you know, in every work environment you go to, there is one bad egg. Like, you could go to a work environment right now, and there'll be, most of the staff will be nice. You'll meet that one bad egg, and that staff will give you that bad vibe, or you'll ask them a question, they'll be abrupt about it. So, yeah, I just think it's the way the world works. You're not gonna go to a work environment where you're gonna meet everyone that's nice. Some staff are gonna be bad. Some staff are gonna be nice, and that's how it is, unfortunately.
And this is not an example of racism. The racism would come into place if the black man was discriminated against during the interview or something, or there was like an underlying factor, and they pointed that out to the man that we're not employing you because you may have been from like a low income background, or you don't fit the looks. Like if the employer is to state why the black man didn't get the job, and it's something that contributes to his race or his background or anything that can discriminate against him, that would be considered racism.
Why didn't he get a job? If, for example, if I'm the employer, right, and there's one brother there and there's 3 white guys, if his skills, his attitude in the interview, his qualifications, experience, right, is lesser than the others, it shouldn't be just because he's black. Because then he'll be over his head in the job, and then what? After sacking him off down the line, what's the point? If you give me some sort of break then for doing that, but no. I would say you shouldn't employ someone just because of the colour of the skin. If their qualifications and what they can bring to the company or organisation, whatever, is reflected, then yeah, I wouldn't say it's racism, no. But if they get knocked back because they look a certain way, I think I've experienced this personally. In fact, I know I have. I mean, because my face didn't match, and I know this next person I had more experience than them, more, if not the same qualification, but more experience than them, direct hands-on. What? And I know I didn't feel the interview. They practically said I'd smashed the interview, so I'm like, so what do I do? What do I do to get the job? Yeah, so it varies.
Who was better at the job? Literally, who's best at the job? If the black guy was more compatible than everybody else and he didn't get it, then that could be a form of racism. However, if the 3 white guys were more experienced and more qualified to do the job, then no, it's not. It is what it is at the end of the day. We're people.
Definitely, I believe so. But as well, yeah, I think definitely is racism because obviously you're thinking, hang on, why has the black guy not got the job? So I feel like, yeah, that's institutional racism, you know what I mean? You know, and especially sometimes in some jobs, you'll have the black guy who's worked there for a number of years, but you won't promote him, but you'll promote the white person who's only been there for 2 minutes, you know.
I think at times it is an example of racism, but then again, the black guy might have just not been as good as the white people. But then at the same time as well, I feel like sometimes when a job does hire a black person, they're doing it to be diverse, purely just for that.
But I feel like in a lot of work, there's a lot of favouritism as well, because you will have someone, like not having to do with race, you have someone who's been loyal to you, he's done everything for you, and then you've maybe got a mate who's joined up to their work and you've put him as like a senior, and that guy who's been there, who's been at your feet for this amount of years, you still leave him at the bottom. It happens.
Just get over it. People are different to you. Get over it, mate. You don't like nothing of you don't like anything that's not of your race or culture, i.e., food, music, clothes, fashion, whatever. So so that means don't wear any of our stuff. Then, you know what I mean, don't listen to any music, our food, none of that. Yeah. All right then, get over it.
I feel very sorry for you that you're carrying that burden on your shoulder of being hateful towards somebody else when you're not actually perfect yourself. Educate yourself, look at where a lot of the words you use today come from, look at where all the stuff in agriculture comes from, and educate yourself. It actually all stems from Africa, darling.
I'll say it to them, basically, I'll say to them, mate, you need educating. You know what I mean? You really need educating. You're close-minded, you know what I mean? Look at me. Yeah, I'm black, you're white. But what do we have in common? We have a brain, we have a heart, we have conscience. We both run the same veins of blood, you know? What is that difference between me and you? Like, obviously, yeah, we're both different colours, probably different cultures, but you need to be open-minded, mate, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? While we're dividing and conquering, we should be one. Like, together, we're stronger. You know what I mean? What have I done to you? I've been good to you, mate, you know what I mean? Like, there's no need for it, you know?
Stop being racist and I don't know, just fuck off.
Like, life's too short, you know what I mean? We should share love. And honestly, like, I'll tell them, mate, it's not worth it, you know what I mean? Life's too short, and as I said, I'm a black person, yeah, and I'm black and proud, and nothing you can say is gonna do anything about that, you know? And I'm gonna stand up for my rights. And I believe that if you are a person, as you say you are, you should accept me for who I am and for my race, because you're less of a person, and you clearly don't have no intellectual capacity whatsoever, because you see me as an enemy because I'm black. What kind of person are you? You're clearly not a human then. You must be another species, for what I know, because for what I know, what would the human race, but just because I'm black and I'm white doesn't mean anything. We are the human race. Yeah.
Like, just stop being racist. And like, more time as well, right? A white married couple, the wife wants to have sex with a black guy. So it's like, they're just hating more time. Because the majority of the white people are actually men that are racist. So
I don't really have anything to say to that. Like, I actually don't. I don't care to address the white race. And yeah, I really don't care to address a white racist because I just can't. I actually can't. I have nothing to say to them.
I'd hope so, but I feel like some of the older generations of my family may not be okay with it just because of like what they've been brought up with, which is really sad, to be honest. But